walking into physical therapy. I'm down to one, probably three more visits. So, wrapping it up. And just got beautiful. I just came out of physical therapy. It was a very good session. Did a lot of knee bending. I'm trying to get me ready that if I needed to get down on the floor and get off the floor, I can get up. Did strengthening. This was a good session. Samantha, my physical therapist, told me I'm doing good. Most likely, I do have two more visits, and she said I will be released. And I feel the same. I don't see any reason to keep this going past my next two appointments. But I just had to come in and say hi. Look at this beautiful sky footage, y'all. It is 82 degrees outside in Southwest Ohio. It's beautiful. What I'm about to do now is go see my mom and then make it my way over to see my son and the baby. All right, bye.
Y'all gonna do a lot together.
You like chili?
I remember when I first started.
Good morning. Today is June 3rd. Popping in. It's a beautiful day. We have been having some gorgeous days. We have been needing gorgeous days. And I'm thankful for it. Yesterday, I did get by to see the grand guy. He is such an adorable baby. My grandbaby, my granddaughter, my 8-year-old, she's adjusting to not being our only grandchild, but she is such a great kid. And right now, she hasn't been able to hold him yet. He's a little guy, even though I think she would do great. But she did put on just some sweet baby music on for him. And I said, that's my little Callie being a big a big cousin, just doing good. And I feel blessed, and I'm trying to adjust to the dynamics of grandparenting, because all dynamics are not the same with your grandkids, especially when it comes to different households. But I'm thankful, that he's part of my lineage. And like I always say to my grandchildren, they will be with me forever. I will be with you forever, whether it is right here or in spirit. And that's the truth. My grandmother is still with me, and she hasn't been on this earth since 2007. I am studying for a test. I have a very important test for work that I have to take on Friday afternoon. It is Wednesday. So I really only have 2.5 days to continue to study. It has been busy at my job, believe it or not, and busy in life. So do I think I have taken the appropriate time that I need to study for this certification that I have to have, that I've had before, 3 times at this point before, but I haven't, I've kind of been without the certification for some months just because of how some things have been going on in my field. I think I'll do fine. I have discovered the app Quizlet, and it has absolutely been a very good study system, and I think it's what's going to get me over the hump. I'll let you know. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that I cannot find out my results the day of the test. So, there's that. However, I do know that, hold on a moment, that my notification came through letting me know a reminder about reporting. Wait a minute, hold on a moment. To my testing site. It was, okay, yeah, my testing site. They sent my reminder. And I have to be there at 2 p.m. It's 100. I have 120 minutes to take this test. And I need to be there at 1:30. So anyway, y'all, I got something else to check in with you all to tell you how I did. So I shall do that. And pray for me as I pray for myself, but I will be studying because faith without works is dead. Yeah. Let me tell y'all another thing. So I have been going through the Bible in 1 year. I mentioned that in another video sometime back. And I said, ooh, it's hard. When I say hard, I don't mean it's hard to go through the Bible in 1 year. I mean, some of what you read is hard. And I'm just going to be honest. It's disturbing too. I am in, of course, the Old Testament. I'm in Samuel right now, getting to the end of 2 Samuel. You know, the things that I've learned, first of all, anybody who has read the Bible anytime, and I don't mean from cover to cover, I just mean every time you open the Bible, you're going to get a new revelation every time you open the Bible. Every single time you open the Bible. I don't think I honestly have read. I may have read the Bible through. I can't remember. I know I've attempted to read the Bible through before. I'm learning about King David. It's like, wait a minute. I knew, that God considers him a man after his own heart. I know that's what I learned, and I know it's in the Bible. I knew about the what he's done with, how he got with Bathsheba. I know that, he tricked her husband into going into battle, was in the front of he put him in the front, basically set him up to die. And it's because he wanted his wife. I know that. But man, David is something else. First of all, you already know biblically in the Old Testament and probably in the New Testament, but we're going to stick with the Old Testament. There were multiple wives and concubines. Many of the men had multiple wives and concubines. So, I always hear of David and Bathsheba. So many who read the Bible also was aware of his wife Abigail. Abigail is a wife that who became his wife because she was married to a man who didn't respect David. Like David and his army, his men were coming through. Abigail's husband was a well-off, wealthy man, and David and his people were coming through, and they wanted provisions. They wanted, we're coming through. We're not gonna bother you, but we need something to eat, and we need somewhere to rest. And and during that time, Saul was still the king, and David technically was still under Saul, but it was becoming apparent that David was going to soon be the new king because God said it through Samuel, right? Well, anyway, this man was like, who are you? Who are you, David? I'm not giving you nothing, basically. And Abigail must have sensed David is about to be the man. We are going to die. This man and his army will kill us. So she gathered food, excuse me, and, provisions, and ran ahead of David getting to her, because I think David did become aware of what her husband said. She hurried up and got to David and presented, food for him, and basically tried to say, hey, don't kill us. Here's some food. So what he did, he kept her in safety, and then went and and thanked her, I think, and took the provisions. And I feel like, I don't want to tell the story wrong, because I read this a couple days back, and I believe her husband, once he became aware of how his wife saved him, he was just like, oh my gosh, you mean to tell me that I almost got killed by David and his men? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, her husband died. And David took her as his wife. Okay, so I don't think I knew that. I didn't know that story. You got to read the Bible to know, right? And he had another one. He took another wife. And one of the wives that was promised to him, I'm going to say that first wife that was promised to him from King Saul, if he killed one of the Philistines, which was Goliath, he was promised one of King Saul's wives. And after David killed Goliath, Saul didn't fulfill his promise and gave David's wife to some other person. Down the line, I read that, and at some point, David went back, and this after he married Abigail and this other lady. David went back and told the wife that was supposed to come to him because of being promised by her daddy Saul, come on, you my wife. You my wife, so come on. And in the Bible it says, and her husband, who knew you can't keep this wife from going to David, because David was powerful. You can see that David was growing in power, and he was becoming a king, because I don't even think he was declared king yet. He was being viewed as the king, or the upcoming king. And it said that husband followed his wife, just kind of sulking behind her because he knew that he lost her to David. I'm like, what? It's a soap opera. If y'all want some soap opera reading, get into that Bible for sure. And I'm going to be honest, I've been disturbed at some of the stuff that I've been reading. Another thing that I read, and I'm like, what? David, and I'm going to see if this is going to be always and forever. I read it 2 times that lame, like the lame, the blind, anyone disfigured, David despised. He despised them. Despised them, and openly despised them. And the Bible talks about, and I don't listen, the Bible talks about some hard things. And I'm just being honest, it has been disturbing, some of this stuff. And I do know that we hold in our Bible the Old Testament and the New Testament. Not to mention, I'm going to get me a copy of the Ethiopian Bible, because I do have like versions of the Bible on my Bible app that shows the Apocrypha. So there's those extra books that have not been included in our standard Bibles. But the Ethiopian Bible's interpretation, how can I say, they have 88 books, and also our King James, New King James, all our other versions, NIV, all those versions have interpretations put on them that can change meanings. But they said the Ethiopian Bible is one of the purest forms. I want that Bible, and I want to have it in my hand and read it along with some of the interpretations I've been reading for a while. I want to just get the purity, get the purest. I'm just to see what it says. I'm not saying it's gonna be any less hard, but I'm telling y'all, especially for us who just quote scriptures, or we know our certain scriptures, because this stuff, at least in my church upbringing, and we learn the stories. I think about some of the things that I learned in Sunday school as a kid. We learned some of the, Samson, his hair getting cut off, and him, pushing the building and killing, the people who were trying to kill him. But the details that are written in the Bible, we didn't learn that. They weren't teaching us that. You skip through scriptures. When you go to church on Sunday, your pastor, he will he will preach hard lessons but uplifting words. I've been going to Bible study more, and meaning really our Sunday, we have a great Sunday school at my church. We dive in deep and we have discussions because we're learning about life. But we've read some hard things, especially in my women's Sunday school class, some hard things. And sometimes you'll be like, wow. But just letting that Bible, just put that Bible app on and especially listen to it being read to you. Like if you listen to books on, audio, listen to it on audio. Of course, you can read along with it. You can rewind back. Boy, some of these stories is like, they ain't even making stories like this not no more. So did I go on a little rant? I just had to share that with y'all. Tell me y'all thoughts. I'm being honest. And let me just say this. I'm a Baptist Christian, a Black Baptist Christian. Okay, for most of my life, I had a time in non-denominational, and I have a deep family history, a close family history of apostolic in my family. But I've always practiced being, as a child, a Baptist, and I've come back to that in my adulthood. I've had times where I've been away from church, never away from God. Never away from God. As a matter of fact, I did a video about how there was a time period I was away from church, took a religion class that taught the origins of the Bible and how a lot of this is man-made, put together, and a lot of our religions are man-made. Okay, I still practice my Christianity. I'm an imperfect being, but I'm just letting y'all know my true feelings. It's not going to stop me from going to church and doing, my good works. I don't go to church blindly following anybody. I go to church to learn because I think that you can learn from the Bible. I think there are some lessons, and that's what I prayed about. Lord, what lessons am I to gain from some of this that I'm seeing? Even in some of the things I'm learning about David. Because, and I know I haven't gotten to the part yet where the Bible says that David is a man after God's own heart. But I'm like, wow, David off the chain. And then you see some of the things we see in the world that's going on right now, and some of the things that are said to be done in the name of God. And I'm like, and if y'all laying over here on this side, I see why you think you're justified. These are just my thoughts. Happy Wednesday.